Hi everyone, my name's Dominic. I'm a property developer here in Cornwall. This video is to help you first-time buyers who are thinking about buying your first home. And I've got some points that I am going to say. So get a pen and paper and write these down, because this is from my experience. Me and my partner, we have both been thinking about this all day. So hopefully these key points do help you, as we are experienced buyers in property. So let's get into this. First one is, are you mature enough to own your own home? Because at the end of the day, it is a huge responsibility. It is the biggest purchase, or one of the biggest purchases, that you are ever going to make in your life. So are you really mature enough to own your own home, to run a household? Because, you got garden maintenance if you're going to have a plan to have a garden. You got to just sort guttering. You got to make sure the patio's all clean, the grass is cut. Then you got to make sure inside your house is always tidy and always clean. If you damage anything, you got to be able to repair it, either repair it yourself or save up to be able to pay for that person to come in and repair it. So there is quite a lot to keep your house in tip-top condition. So yeah, keep that in mind. And then that brings me on to relationship. I know you're thinking, Dominic, that is pretty fast to talk about relationships, but hang on. But you got to make sure, if you've got a partner, are they trustworthy enough? Are you going to be happy with them in the next 5 years? Are they going to contribute to the bills or housework? And this is critical to think of, really, because if your names are both on the house, you're both reliable. So take that into consideration. Are you in a serious relationship? Another reason is, why do you want to own the property in the first place? Is it because you want to own a little slice of the UK? Because sometimes it might not be right to buy if you're not planning to stay in that area for the long term, or you might grow out of that area. Or is it just for investment purpose only? Only you can decide why you want to buy property. Is moving now the right time? Because are you in a stable job, career, or now we're in the pandemic of the virus? I know houses you might get a slight discount. I don't think it's going to be much. But is your job secure? Are you guaranteed? Yes, now you were going to buy a house pre-pandemic, but are you guaranteed that job now? Say for the next 5 years at least. Something to think about. Do you feel pressured? Because sometimes people feel pressured because they see their friends buying their first homes, or they got parents who are pressuring them to leave the nest. But sometimes it's okay to feel that it is not the right time. You might not even want to own your own property, really, and renting might be an option for you, because renting is not all bad as that everybody says it is. Yes, fair enough, you're paying someone's mortgage, but I'll tell my pros and cons in the next video. Do you firstly have a good credit rating? Because you need a good credit rating to be able to afford the mortgage for your nice house. Because at the end of the day, they're not going to give you one. So make sure you've got no debts or high financial liabilities. They weren't too bad on student loans, I've always found. And do you have any credit card debt? Anything on finance? It's stuff you need to consider, especially at this time with the pandemic. If you've been furloughed, they look for, a mortgage company looks for to make sure you have 3 months statements, and they'll do loads of checks on you. Hands up, I've been guilty of having stuff on finance there what I totally forgot about. And then they go, oh, what is this? I'm like, I don't know. And then we got to find it quickly, hurry and find out what it is. And then it might be something like the sofa we forgot we're still paying off. So just make sure you have all that and you should be fine. Bills involved. You got to think about your water bill, your home insurance, electricity, your gas, your council tax, And I know I covered a bit on this, but say your boiler breaks. You've got to make sure you've got money aside to pay that off. And especially with your house, you need insurance. If you can't afford to lose it, insure it. I know you're thinking, oh, they asked me insurance about a phone and all this, but this is totally different. This is your house, your biggest purchase. You need insurance. Just for the house, this is important because some people will insure the house and the land it's on. But if anything happens to the house itself, nothing's really going to happen to the ground. So just one to keep note of. Another thing to talk about is people just waking up one day and going, I want to buy a house. They've got no plan, no goal. They don't even know what house they're looking for, how much it is in their area. They just one day they wake up and go, I want a house. I can't afford a house. It's too expensive. But people save for years. You ask your parents or your grandparents who own a house or somebody who own a house, and I guarantee 9 times out of 10, there were sacrifices made for the house. We've made sacrifices. Everybody's made sacrifices to get on the property ladder at some point. And that brings me on to another point that everybody, especially us now, the younger ones, that we want everything right now. And, I've fallen foul to this. But sometimes it takes a lot of work and a lot of patience. But we'll get there. What I forgot to mention with the bills is a will. Is once you and your partner own a property, if anything should happen to you, who's it going to? You're part of the property. Hopefully it'll be your partner if you trust them that much. So just keep that in mind. So I'll go a bit more into the finance side. And have you really saved enough for a deposit? Because that's crucial in this, is that you need quite a hefty deposit. If you can have help, that's good. But if you're by yourself, you need to focus. And you need to focus on getting that decent deposit first. I always look for a best loan to value ratio on the property. So 60%. So that means a 40% deposit, what might be quite a lot most places in the country. But this is more if you are moving up again. But some people might inherit money or something like that. And the best competitive mortgages you can get is if you have a 40% deposit. So if you're fortunate enough to have inherited money, or you've done very well and you saved up a lot of money, you will get the best competitive mortgages. That moves me on to my monthly mortgage payments. And I typically try and make sure that after gross income, that my mortgage doesn't exceed 30%. That just works for me. You can figure out the numbers yourself and see how it works. But it gives you a little wiggle room just in case you've got repairs and other unexpected payments, a broken down car or anything else like that. So just keep that in mind. That's one of my top tips. And then there's the cost of stamp duty. Most of you won't pay it, so that's okay. Then you've got solicitor's fees after. You've got your mortgage broker. You've got to decorate your house or furnish your house. So you've got your sofa, you've got your table, you've got all your kitchen stuff. You've got literally your beds, your wardrobes if you haven't got built-in ones. So there's lots of stuff to think about, and that takes a huge chunk of money. So make sure when you got your deposit, you save a bit more over that to cover all those costs. If you are really up for a project, it is best to buy the worst house in the best street, because by then, hopefully, your house price would have rose, giving you more for your next house. So you'll have a bigger deposit for your next house, what will help you move up the ladder. This home doesn't have to be your forever home. So don't panic too much if it's the nice house in the wrong location, but it is in still a convenient location, because at the end of the day, you can move after 3, 4, 5 years. So don't always think this is it, this is my only home, unless you absolutely love it. Our other thought is if you're not staying in this area, is it really important for you to buy? Because at the end of the day, if you're not going to be there for 2 years, then is there any point? You might as well carry on renting if you're ending up moving, unless you want to buy it, keep it in the area, hopefully it will increase in value, and then just rent it out and somebody else is paying it off for you. So that's a couple other things you need to think about. At the end of the day, we've got to all be quite realistic, and we're not going to be able to just go like that, decide we want to be able to just go out there and buy a house. Because you need to have a goal, save. Because at the end of the day, we're all not going to just move into a massive mansion with space and a nice swimming pool. Because it's just not realistic unless you really grind for it. Really try. So I think I'll end this video here, but just remember, get a plan in place and just save. Hopefully it's made you think about moving into your first home or even moving into a second home. Thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe if you like the content, hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next one.